Welcome back. Today we're diving into some specific legal factors,
Sure.
things that don't just look at the crime itself, but really the malice behind it.
Exactly.
We're talking aggravating circumstances under Article 14, focusing on how the victim status or, where the crime happened can increase liability.
That's the heart of it. The law sees these factors, like targeting someone because they're old or breaking into their home as showing a greater perversity in the offender.
Greater perversity. Okay.
And it's worth noting right off the bat, there's this rule for paragraph 3. Rank, age, sex, and dwelling. If somehow all four are present, the law weights them collectively.
As just one single aggravating circumstance.
That's right, just one.
Interesting. Okay, let's break down the status part first. This disregard of respect due. Why the split between crimes against persons versus property here?
Well, because the disregard has to be personal. It's aimed at the person or their honor.
Ah,
So this category really only clicks for crimes against persons or honor if you say, steal the president's briefcase. The disrespect to rank doesn't automatically count. Why? Because the value of the briefcase, well, it's the same no matter who owns it.
right. The act is against the property.
Exactly. It has to be an injury or insult aimed at the person. That's why it's often excluded even in something like robbery with homicide, which the law primarily treats as a crime against property.
That seems quite strict. It sounds like the prosecution needs to show more than just, the victim being a woman or an older person.
Oh, absolutely. The burden of proof is high.
How high?
You need clear evidence of deliberate intent. The offender must have meant to offend or insult the victim's rank, age, or sex without that proven intent.
The circumstance doesn't aggravate.
Correct. It just doesn't apply.
Okay. And the examples for rank seem to underscore this idea of challenging social standing.
They do. Think about a student attacking their teacher or someone killing a judge specifically out of resentment for their role.
Or like the case involving an attempt on a Philippine Army general.
Precisely. These target the position, the authority.
And what about age? You mentioned that covers vulnerability at both ends.
It does. It protects the elderly, think octogenarians, but also, crucially, tender age.
Tender age. How young are we talking?
We've seen cases involving a 12-year-old boy, a 3-year-old, even a 7-month-old baby. The law recognizes that vulnerability itself is a status being exploited.
Right, the inherent defenselessness. Okay, so that covers status. Now let's shift to the place. Violation of dwelling. The idea here is protecting the home, yeah?
Exactly. The sanctity of privacy. Your home is meant to be a refuge, a sanctuary that deserves respect.
But what defines a dwelling legally? Is any building okay?
No, it has to be used exclusively for rest and comfort. So, not a market stall or, say, one of those combination house store setups.
Got it. Purely residential.
And the violation itself can happen in two ways, either abusing confidence, like if you were invited in.
And then you attack them?
Right. Or by simply violating that sanctity, basically, trespassing to commit the crime.
Yeah, but there's a catch, isn't there? Something about provocation.
Ah, yes. The provocation hurdle. This is crucial.
How did that work?
Dwelling is not aggravating if the victim, the person in the house, gave sufficient and immediate provocation.
Sufficient and immediate. So if they start yelling insults right before the attack.
Exactly. If their actions inside the house directly trigger the attack, they effectively lose that special protection of the dwelling for that moment.
Okay. And I found this detail surprising. The offender doesn't even need to go inside.
That's correct. It might seem counterintuitive, but the circumstance can still apply even if the attack comes from outside.
Like shooting someone who's inside their house from the street.
Yes. It's about violating the security of the person within their dwelling. The location of the victim's vulnerability is key.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, one last wrinkle here involves robbery. You mentioned dwelling sometimes applies, sometimes doesn't.
Right. It depends on the type of robbery.
How so?
If it's robbery with force upon things like breaking a door or a window to get in dwelling is generally not aggravating.
Because the breaking in is part of the crime itself.
Precisely. It's inherent. The law avoids double counting it. But if it's robbery with violence or intimidation against persons inside their dwelling,
then it is aggravating.
yes, because now you're not just breaking in, you're using violence against someone in their sanctuary. That adds a distinct layer of perversity, exploiting their defenselessness at home.
So, wrapping this up, it seems the law makes a very deliberate distinction. It's not just about the criminal act, but the added malice shown by exploiting status or violating that private space.
That really sums it up. It highlights how the law assesses not just what was done, but the mindset and the context surrounding it.
It adds a whole layer of complexity.
It certainly does. And it leaves us with something to think about, especially regarding those status factors like rank, age, or sex.
Which is?
Well, considering that heavy burden on the prosecution to prove deliberate intent to insult, how does needing to prove a specific state of mind, rather than just an action, fundamentally change things when we try to gauge how severe a crime truly is? Something for you, the listener, to mull over.